mountain bikes are brilliant, but like so many things in our lives today, they rely on battery power to make them work. And sure, you can ride the bike without e-power, but it's a wee bit like wading through treacle. Now, I travel throughout the Highlands and Islands of Scotland to ride my e-bike, and I carry it in this camper van. So I really need some way of charging the e-bike battery once I've enjoyed a day's riding, so that it's fully charged for the next day. If I'm staying in a campsite, I can charge up from the electric hookup, but most of the time I don't use campsites, especially in winter, because very few of them are open. So I need to carry a power bank of some description. Now, most folk don't use petrol generators anymore, and thank goodness for that. If you've ever had someone park next to you and start up a generator, you'll know why. They're as socially acceptable as screaming kids or barking dogs. No, actually, they're worse than that. Now, listen to this. In the past, I've used various power banks. I bought a Bluetti EB55 some years ago, and it was great, but there are better models on the market now. I've also used a small EcoFlow and a small all-powers charger, and they've been a real improvement on their immediate predecessors. These tools are definitely getting better and more efficient and seem to be evolving all the time. And I've just had one sent to me from a company that seems to have been around a wee bit longer than most, and has certainly been at the forefront of this technology for a long time. This is the Jackery Explorer 1000 version 2, and this version 2 is a big improvement of the version 1. We'll take a good look at it in a moment or two, but first of all, let me tell you why I'm really excited by this. Now, camper vans are all about compromise, usually space versus comfort. And when it comes to power banks, it's all about size versus power. Now, my camper van is only small, so I don't really have a much storage for a big power bank with loads and loads of power. So I've had to ask myself some pretty important questions. What's the most power intensive bit of gear that I have to regularly charge? Now, I don't carry a microwave, my fridge is a compressor fridge, I don't carry electric coffee makers, I don't need a telly, I don't need a hairdryer or hair straighteners, and neither does my wife, incidentally. So what do I have that takes a bit of battery power to charge? Now, answer: my e-bike battery. Now, the battery for my Trek Powerfly can punch out 625 watt hours, so my little old Bluetti only just cope with one complete charge. Now, its capacity is 700 watt and 537 watt hours. The new Jackery Explorer V2 is about twice as powerful, with a battery capacity of 1070 watt hours and an output power wattage of 1500 watts with 3000 watt peak surge. Now, I guess that'll cope fine with my Trek Powerfly battery, but we'll check that later on. Now, what I find really exciting is that the Jackery isn't that much bigger than my old Bluetti and not all that much heavier. What's important for me is that it will fit into the little space behind my driver's seat where I store my power bank. Now, the fact of the matter is this: these power banks are getting smaller, lighter and more powerful as the technology improves. It's an evolving progression. In a few years' time, you might be able to carry one around in your pocket. You never know. But until then, I'm pretty delighted with this one from Jackery. So what can it do, and why are these things so great for campervan life?
All the power in this VW campervan conversion comes from the leisure battery. Now, I've got a diesel heater which still requires some electrics to make it work, and I've got a gas hob for cooking. I also have a solar panel on the roof, but to be honest, here in Scotland we're not exactly blessed with a surfeit of sunshine, especially in winter. When the sun does shine, it's well, you treat it as a bonus, but I don't rely too much on solar energy in Scotland. Generally speaking, I can get by just fine with my leisure battery. I don't have a lot of things that need regular charging, but there's my mobile phone, my iPad and laptop, batteries for my cameras, and my drones, my little Bose speaker, and of course the biggie, my e-bike battery. If we're on longer trips, Gina might take a hairdryer with her, but that's about it. If I happen to have a heavy day's filming, say filming an e-bike ride, for example, I generally want to recharge everything in the evening, as well as edit the material I shot during the day on my laptop. So all that inevitably puts a bit of pressure on my leisure battery, especially if I have the heater on and the lights running most of the evening, as you would in winter. And this is where a power bank really comes into its own. I can charge up everything in one go. I can keep working when I'm off grid, and even charge up my bike battery for use for the next day. And I really only have to book into a campsite when I need to recharge the power bank or maybe have a shower. So what does the Jackery Explorer 1000 offer me in terms of charging ports? Okay, there are basically 6 charging ports in all. 2 USB-C ports. One is 30 watts, fine for a fast charge of my iPad, and the other's 100 watts, perfect for charging my laptop quickly. And a USB-A port. Now, I'd have liked another USB-A port because that's what most of my cables are. My old Blue Yeti has 4 USB-A ports and 1 USB-C port, so I'm probably just used to having that number. 3 USB ports seem just a wee bit stingy to me. We've got a DC 12-volt port for charging up as you drive along, which would be great, but Jackery doesn't actually supply a DC cable, which seems, again, a wee bit stingy. If you want to charge up on the move, you need to buy a cable, which I believe costs about 30 quid or so. We have 2 3-pin UK pure sine wave AC ports. On the front, there's a very clear info panel showing how much power you have left in the bank, and the number of watts you have going in and coming out, and wee indicators that tell you if the bank is connected to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and what modes are switched on, like quiet charging mode or battery saving mode, and a bunch of others. There's also a flashlight on the front with 3 settings: bright, brighter and SOS. Now, to charge the power bank itself, you have 3 options. You can plug it into the wall and it'll charge up pretty noiselessly. As I've mentioned earlier, there is a specific quiet charging mode, but I'm not even sure if it's necessary. This thing charges up very, very quietly and pretty fast actually. Second option is via the DC port when you're driving, and the third is via solar panels, which I'll discuss later. There's an emergency fast charge mode which will power the bank from 0 to full inside an hour, and that's great. But Jackery suggests this is really only an emergency procedure and advise you to charge at normal speed to maximise battery life. And on the subject of battery life, the cell chemistry in this battery is the latest LiPo4, lithium iron phosphate batteries. They're a kind of lithium ion rechargeable battery. The benefits over the more traditional cobalt-based Li-ion batteries are increased power output, faster charging, reduced weight, and a longer lifetime. In short, LiPo4 batteries last much longer. Now, before I try it out, it's worth mentioning the retractable handle on the new Jackery. In the past, Jackery had fixed handles that jutted out from the top, but they really weren't very practical. They looked nice, but they took up extra space and a bit bulky, and you couldn't really store anything on top. This handle is a huge improvement, in my opinion, and may even be a game changer for people like me who are tight on space in a small camper van. Okay, what I want to do now is charge up my e-bike battery. I've run it pretty low, and that's a normal kind of output for a day's biking that I normally do. It's difficult to say just how much mileage I get from a full charge of a battery, because so much depends on how I ride the bike, how hilly it is, what the weather's like, and what the terrain is like. But I generally go on an average of 35 to 40 miles per charge. And that's what my experience tells me. Now, I rode my e-bike 25 miles today, running at full speed on turbo all the way, just to wear the battery down. I was on a fairly flattish tarmac road, and at the end I had about 10% battery life left, as indicated by the single bar. Now, that sort of battery usage is fairly typical of my normal day out. So I'm now going to charge the battery on the Jackery and see, one, how it copes with charging the Bosch battery, and two, how long it takes to charge it fully. And hopefully there'll be some power left at the end to keep my laptop running and maybe charge up my iPhone or my little Bose speaker.
Okay, I've come in just to check upon the charging of my bike battery, and that's about an hour and a half. It's as you can see, it's hitting 4 bars now, so that's quite impressive. And let me see what it's telling us here. It's used about 30% of the power on the Jackery, and it's suggesting to me that there's 3.7 hours left of this kind of output, and it's still pumping out nearly just almost 180 watts of power. So that's looking pretty good actually, and we'll see what that's like in an hour or so.
Now, I mentioned earlier that you can charge up the Jackery Explorer 1000 via solar panels, and the folk at Jackery very kindly sent me their Solar Sega 100 watt portable power panel, as well as the generator. Now, this is a monocrystalline solar cell charger, and it folds up into a pretty neat package, I have to say, and it can be stored away really very easily in a camper van or the back of a car or whatever. Not only will this panel charge up your main power bank, it also has a USB-A and a USB-C port, so you can charge up iPhones, laptops, digital cameras from the power of the sun. Now, isn't that brilliant? Well, it is, if you get enough sun. Unfortunately, here in the north of Scotland, we only get sunshine in pretty spasmodic doses. I did fix up the charger and the solar panel when the sun gave us a fleeting visit the other day, and that resulted in a max input of a mere 10 watts. But you know, it is late November, and believe me, I can understand the benefits of solar panels, and I'll definitely take this panel kit with me when we go off on our biannual visits to the continent. But for the moment, I'm afraid we just don't get enough sunshine here in Scotland to test it out fully. Okay, let's have a check on the bike battery. What are we at? What are we at now? Well, look at that. That's yeah, 5 bars gone, and let me see what I forgot here. Yeah, about 52%. So less than 50% of the solar generator used up, and that's only been about 2.5 hours or so. So I'm very pleased with that. Very pleased indeed. So from a Trek e-bike battery that was I would say 90% discharged, 2.5 hours, and 50% of the generator here has charged the battery back up to 5 bars, and that will give me a full day's riding tomorrow. Full day's riding on my e-bike tomorrow, so that's absolutely brilliant. 2.5 hours and half a charge, so plenty of charge left in the Jackery to to charge up other things like my iPhone and basically anything else I want. Absolutely brilliant. Finally, there's a Jackery app available, and this is pretty useful. It's connected by Bluetooth, and the first page gives you an overview of the information panel on the generator itself. How much power is left, the temperature, how much power is going in, how much power is going out, and you can operate the flashlight from the app as well, which is quite a useful feature. The second page is in many ways the important one. Here you have all your settings, things like emergency charging, battery settings, energy saving mode, general charging settings, and all the device specifications. Now, as I said, pretty useful. Oh, and I really hope I haven't given the impression that this generator is just for campervan users. It isn't. You could use it on a car camping expedition or a trip, although I wouldn't suggest you go backpacking with it at 23.8 pounds or 10.8k. It's just a wee bit heavy for a backpack. But given the fact that winter is about here, and because of climate change, we're more likely to get storms and power cuts. So this bit of kit might just be, it could well be a lifesaver in the home. You could use it to boil a kettle, work a toaster or an air fryer, a coffee machine, a microwave, or even keep a fridge running for a few hours. So please don't get the impression that Jackery Explorer is just for, outdoor geeks like me. Keep one of these at home and you need never worry about power cuts again. So to wrap up, the Jackery Explorer 1000 version 2 represents the very latest in this kind of power technology. You can get bigger or smaller variations of this one, but this 1000 model fits exactly what I need a power bank for. It suits me admirably. Now it costs about £1,200 bundled with a solar panel, or £899 on its own, but I'm putting this video together on Black Friday week and prices are all well reduced. Indeed, Jackery have offered a very good deal for subscribers of this channel, so I'll put all the details of that in the information below, in the description below. Now, let me make it clear that Jackery sent me this product free of charge, so many thanks to them. But I should point out they were happy for me to say anything I wanted about the product, and that's important. Anything at all, good or bad. So on that note, how about an extra USB-A slot, and maybe think about including a cable that we can plug into a car cigarette lighter. Those things would make a brilliant product even better. And many thanks to you guys for sticking with me through this video. If you found it at all useful, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that like button. And take a look at the special price Jackery is offering in the description below. So that's it for this video. Get outdoors, even if it is winter. Enjoy your campervan, enjoy your cycling or whatever you do. And I look forward to catching up next time. See ya.